Alright, I'm trying to learn noseblunt today. We got Coogan out here, my buddy. He's a noseblunt master. He's going to teach us noseblunt variations. What are the first steps to learning noseblunts?
First steps to learning noseblunt. I recommend learning switch blunts, popping back to regular first. It definitely helps you figure out the motion and kind of not be scared to hesitate and pop back in once you learn how to get into the stall. So that's first steps. Center gravity.
I'm going to interrupt him. What's the trick to getting into the noseblunt going fakie? Because I always slip out.
So that just takes trial and error, just kind of going slow, giving it the little bonk. The bonk kind of helps you like figure out versus rolling up switch. You kind of got to learn the hard way to just figure out where your wheels are all at. Staying on top of the transition, but not too far over, not too far in. Kind of finding that little sweet spot. You get a little tail bonk or scrape, you'll hear it then, kind of like bonking off the coping, but you're just bonking your wheel up there. So you don't want to overshoot it or go too fast. So just got to figure out the speed to get in that motion. It's all in between your shoulders. I kind of prefer to leave my foot in the pocket back here. We can feel everything, feel what's going on. And then front foot literally up here near the bolts. Whether you're trying fakie or switch, or just kind of adjust them accordingly. Switch, I'll probably do it like that. You're right in that pocket, right under here. You feel everything that's going on, nice and center of gravity.
Just explain how to get into the noseblunt. How do you pop it out of the noseblunt and go back in? We're talking fakie noseblunt because that's the first step to doing any noseblunts.
Kind of you just want to pinpoint your tail up. You don't want to hang out. You don't want to lunch break. You want to keep that fast momentum so you get a nice pop. It's all between your shoulders. Your front foot, get the good snap. Your back foot kind of just guides everything in. And you got to figure out, I mean, you don't, not too far forward, not too far back. It's kind of like once you learn the pop, all on the shoulders, you'll figure out where you need to adjust and how hard you need to snap it based on the steepness of the transition. I feel like a mellow ramp is actually harder to get all the way back in. It's got a lot more clear. Versus when you learn on a steep ramp, you can kind of barely snap it, kind of carry it vertical back in. Like how you see like figure skaters, magic.
Alright, so I want to learn fakie noseblunts today. Where should I start? That's a good starting point for learning fakie noseblunts.
I would say right here, off the noping, you can kind of go slow and get in your
Coogan just gave me a good tip. I got into him fakie, or I didn't get into a fakie because it's scary to pop him, but I got into him switch. Now I just need to roll back in, but I'm scared to commit. What Coogan just showed me, it's kind of like a manual. Alright, we're gonna get this today though. I got a switch blunt. I'm not totally satisfied, but I am happy. I'll count it. It's a nose blunt, sort of. Oh, but by the end of this video, I'm gonna learn how to pop out. Having a hard time popping out on the little training. I'm gonna try it on a little bit a bigger transition. It might be easier to pop out for me. Switch nose blunts. I'm still struggling on the fakie nose blunt, aka switch nose blunt. Gonna figure it out. Coogan's gonna give us some advice for backside and frontside nose blunts.
Frontside nose blunts. I would say get a nice, powerful frontside 180. Start a little bit under the coping so you can float up to the coping. Basically, you want to guide it right over your front wheels. Kind of land like right in here in the pocket. So generally you probably want to start with your foot a little bit under the bolts or your pop. So you ultimately want your foot to land here once you complete the 180. And it's all good like shoulder turn. Kind of get a nice little semi-shoulder like whip. Just the placement once you figure it out. Once you figure out how to pop and where you need to pop, I tend to pop a little bit under, probably a foot under the coping and float up to it. You want to stay more inside the ramp than on top. That way you're You don't want to break too long, and you're able to get the quick snap back into the ramp. And again, it's all center of gravity between your shoulders. Really focus on that. Follow through. It'll take a good amount of stalls, and then you'll chicken out a little bit. And then finally, once you commit to one, you'll figure out the balance and the timing. And I promise I've learned that a quick, nice pop in and out helps with the momentum to carry it. Especially if you want to take that to learn into a slide.
Any tips for the backside version? I mean, that's pretty similar to frontside that you've explained, but any tips for backside?
Backside is really, sometimes I have a hard time. My shoulders were overturned. So basically, your shoulders are your guide. You want to turn your shoulders the amount you want to turn. Your center of gravity is in between your shoulders, of course, all the way down to your feet. So basically just controlling. Generally for the backside, it's not a frontside ollie. I tend to do more of a late scoop snap into it. That definitely helps, but I mean, I do them both ways, but the first way to learn would be more of a scoop, kind of like a backside tail slide, where you do a semi-little scoop with a little pop into it. So it's typically the same thing for backside.
Last thing we're gonna bug Coogan with is how do you slide nose blunts? What's the trick to sliding them after you got the stalls down?
That comes as doing them for years on rails and ledges, and then just learning how to adapt that into the ramp. If you're doing them on like a wooden mini ramp, it's gonna definitely slide a lot easier. You don't have to go as fast. If it's skate light or something, yeah, it's gonna be super icy. So it depends on what you're learning it on. I tend to try and learn it on the rugged concrete, so you can kind of get a feel for the worst terrain you're ever gonna ride. You'll be able to nose blunt slide on it, you know. So it's just basically determining that. Is the thing wax? Is it not? Is it sticky? What are your wheels like? So it's all just kind of going slow at first, figuring out. Definitely learn how to do it on a rail or a ledge first. That helps you learn the slide and momentum you need to do. And then yeah, just start slow. Figure out if you're gonna eat shit from the wax or if it's sticky. And then you can kind of start with a small one, you know, go at a slight angle. Don't go straight up and down and expect to slide, you know. That's another thing. If you go at an angle, kind of cuts the 180 short a little bit, so I always think about that. Definitely try and land bolts. Definitely helps. Safest way to make it down the ramp.
There you go. From the master nose blunter himself. Thanks, dude. Alright, so that wasn't the best Fakie nose blunt ever, but it is the best one I've ever done. It's the only one I've ever done, and it's the beginning of my nose blunt career. Thanks to Coogan for teaching me how to do nose blunts. If you enjoyed this video, and if you learned anything about nose blunts, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and we'll see you in the next one. MASH.